Mikey Sir, Hello Team 61, how are you? Very well, Mikey, how are you? Been a while. Hope you're doing well. We're going to start with a limp. Let's have a look at Manda's ISO here. Good luck, Tommy. Dankeschön. Good luck to Jonas if he's grinding tonight. Well done to Germany. Just about scraping through, huh? That was quite a... There's quite a lot of drama there, wasn't there? So, I think we're supposed to at least call one. There is some room to like raise or something, but I just think it's better to call here. And then just basically, we have a fairly easy fold now if he ships here. If he checks, I think we can just happily go for a little block bet. Which I think is absolutely fine. And then we just basically just go check. It's quite lucky that we studied the exact spot earlier today in Robsy's session. A king comes, and now we have an interesting spot whether we want to jam or not. It's thin, but I think we're going to take it. It's thin. Too thin, apparently. Nice hand, sir, with a king jack. So I think the flop is fine. Maybe you could sometimes fold that, but in position we're not really supposed to fold. Assuming he's got bluff ices, which I think he will have. And then the turn, we obviously bet the turn. I think it's pretty standard. The river, I think without SPR, I mean, what else do we do? The only question is, which hands does he have worse to call us with? I do think he's going to maybe hear us off a little bit. We have a lot of bluffs, I think, in our range, given that we have king 3. You know, we're going to have lots of, let's say, one heart combos. Would be our main bluffs there. So I think that's okay. But we'll mark it and we'll have a look, and we always may be wrong. And so here, I think we'll go for what sizing? I like 3/4, to be honest. I think we have a lot of perceived bluffs here. You know, a lot of this sort of wrap around a 6, for example, with its spades. And obviously we're cool. We hope we're good. I mean, we can be beat here, but it is what it is if we are. Sweet. Queen 8, he's definitely jamming at least, I think, correctly, so we're cool. Block top pair. And we start off with a win, ladies and gentlemen. Happy days. We're going to jam ace-9 off first hand. Why see a flop when we can jam? Happy days. Let's try and keep the caches vaguely. Wait till I get a moment and then we'll update the caches. In position, I don't think we have to go not. Always I get these wrong at like shallower stacks, but I'm just going to go for a smaller size in here. Obviously expect a fair amount of limp jams from worse hands, and limp calls will typically be sort of suited stuff that wraps around this. I think we'll go small here. I think people actually weirdly will probably overcall a lot of their backdoor suited stuff. And so the queen does interact a fair decent chunk, you know. I mean, if he's got, let's say, like a hand like jack 8 of diamonds, probably limp calls pre, probably calls the flop. Now he's improved the gut shot. So I think we have a fairly easy just bet on the turn. This sizing seems absolutely fine. We could go bigger, but I kind of want to keep the 10x and jack x in, because these feel very awkward. What do they do against there? We get a fold. I don't think he folds a 9. I think it's most likely he folded maybe a jack x or an 8x with a suit, but he may have folded a 9. I don't know. So, Bentley Travelensky said, I played some spinning golds at GG Poker. I found them really hard to beat with 7% rake. How are the ROIs in these games? So 7% rake will obviously be tougher to beat. I mean, it's still beatable. But yeah, it will depend a little bit on the format of the game and also the quality in terms of the rec ratios that you're playing. I've also realized that let's finish this hand, and then I'm going to go back and fix the chat and also finish my answer to your question. Let's just start with a call here. I mean, do we ever want to raise this? Probably not. So let's just start with a call. Good and bad river. We're just bluff catching now. The problem is when we bluff catch is that we're only bluff catching against pure ad. Now, when he goes this sizing, it's a little bit more optimistic than maybe bets 8-7. That's at least something. And he still might use this sizing with, you know, just a king 4, maybe. I'm going to call. I'm not thrilled about it, though. I think he can value bet better 2 pairs as well. But he's got king 3, so it's better than king 4. So, Mr. Bentley, yes, I think the thing to remember will be if the games are very turbo-y, you will need to have a very, very decent reg to rec ratio to be able to profit in them. And EVROIs in these games, in flashes at the 15BB effective, typically the best you can manage is about break even, maybe slightly above break even at 5%. So if the format is similar in the spinning, I don't know what the format is like in the spinning golds at GG Poker, but let's say it's similar, then that's obviously going to be very challenging in terms of you're going to be very reliant on rake back, and then you're going to be very reliant on decent rake back, and being reliant on rake back is always a bit difficult because, you know, it's out of your control, and you got to think, you know, there's other considerations to make about when to play or not. So, yeah. Thoughts on England, Germany? You're going 2-1 at Germany. I am, let's say an English fan, I'm pessimistic. I don't think it's gonna be a great. I think Germany will have the majority of possession, the majority of shots. England will play some very defensive, and people will compliment them being like, they've defended like lions, but I think we're just going out. I can't see any different. Now, I could check raise this, but I'm actually going to check call. We got lots of lovely turn cards, including this one, so we're happy with that. We'll check. See that timing in the check back, Cranky? That was a very quick check back. So I think we just min bet against it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the snap check maybe is a little weak. Maybe. Now this is typical. A lot of people, you know, if you're playing off the tables, it's very natural. I will do it the same. But it's especially when you play just one opponent that's playing one tables, as I am, because I'm obviously twitching. That's where a lot of the time tails will come very, you know, come in good for us. We got quite lucky, King 9, Queen 9, but the chips are only 16, so it doesn't really matter. Ace Goddess says, welcome to Spain, 250 euros, 7%. That is tough, absolutely. And Tommy Guns, Mr. Jack Stack. He says, round of applause, Mr. Guns. Just do it at home. His heart will be listening. Thank you guys for potentially, if you've been inspired by Jack to make a round of applause, I appreciate it. My heart is beating in rhythm. Tez Majoli says, how much percent rate back in this room? Depends on, so there's a 40% rate exclusive poker challenge. What is this, ladies and gentlemen? Should we go for the click back? Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we should just get it in now. Against, I bet he's got sevens. Alright. I'm pleased didn't jam. So sometimes I actually jam there and you do get folds, and like one of the things is when we click back, at least they call with some of those hands, and at least they can hit sometimes, you know. And if he's got value, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, I assume. Sometimes you get these weird guys who are like just flat nines and then check fold or something, but it worked out in that case. But yeah, the percentage rate back will be, let's say, we're going to go for a pro. Yeah. And then decide. The percentage rate back will be 40% normally. If you have the VIP bonus on stars, you get 40%. And then you'll have some chess on top of that. Chess will range depending on how profitable you are, I believe is how the metrics work. We're going to shove 10-9. But they'll range from sort of like 5% or 2% to 20% or so. And then you have leaderboards. And leaderboards, again, will be varying depending on how successful you are at the leaderboards and how efficient you are at leaderboards. And I will try and win quite a few and be quite efficient with them. And so my leaderboard long term over the last 4 months or 5 months has been about 15 to 20%. We're going to call off some 8BB. So, yeah. Der Frau says, good luck, Tom. Dankeschön, Der Frau. We're going to limp aces. He's got the aces. Very quick check. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Always pay attention to the timings. Could be a 9x, an 8x, 7x, to 6x. Those are a lot of those are in the check-in range. And then we get another snap check. I actually don't even mind being really tricky and checking here. because I just don't think it's a board we're going to get 3 streets from the snap check back, snap check flop range. So I think it makes sense to check and maybe induce a bluff from his 8x and 9x, which I think will certainly bluff now. Or we bet, check, bet, and maybe get called by the 7x. And so, what's going to call? I think 1.6. And we'll get a call from 7-3. Or maybe a jam. We will be calling if he jams. Okay, we got to fold. Maybe he folded a 6. Maybe. Maybe we could have gone smaller or bigger. I don't know. That was a very unique play. I wouldn't normally take that, but I think it made sense, the adjustments we made there. And we just hit our king, but he hits a flush, which is fair enough. We're going to jam ace-5. Benchley says, how can you climb stakes so high when you can just slightly even in this game? So the reason is breaking even still means profit. So when I mean breaking even, I mean pre-rake back. So let's say we break even, but we have 60% rake back. That means we're still making $3 a game, breaking even, which obviously can be pretty good, right? As Jonas says, rake back. We'll check. Super Mega Vicious, hello, hello, new layout, nice, good luck, thank you, mate, I appreciate that. Exo6 is a very old school reg from Germany. We played it a long time ago, I haven't seen him for a while. Tempted to have a quick flash of the notes. Yeah, look at this. Okay, knew us from a while, but he underbluffed River in 2017, so that's going to be very relevant today, isn't it? I'm sure he's going to underbluff River here. We'll find out. Just call with your jack, mate. There you go. And he had a jack 8. Will he still be underbluffing Rivers 4 years later? To be honest, this note would apply to the entire field, I think, in 2017, apart from a couple of guys. But I always like to see my notes. So we used to play him quite a lot, I remember. But I don't know where he's been for the last 3 and a bit years. But good luck to him. Phil Gluck, Phil Gluck. We're going to call off Jack 7. He hits Queen, which seems fair. Rocker says, with your skills, you would make billions on PokerStars.it. I used to coach, I think I've said this story every single time, but I used to coach an Italian stable who played obviously a lot on Stars IT, and a lot of their responses when we review hands were just shrug and be like, it's IT, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, well, I wouldn't really shove here, I don't think you're going to get too many, and they'd be like, IT, and the guy would just like raise call off with 8-3 or whatever, and you're like, okay, I guess it's IT. He says, worst. Gaudas was very unhappy with us. Let's say he was very unhappy with us a few weeks ago when he said, because we 3-bet him, and he said something like, why are you always picking on me? Or he said something like, why are you always dicking about? Or something like that. And I just texted back and said, it's not personal. And he was furious, I think. So apologies, Gaudas, if you're watching, for having aces. But I have lots of other hands as well. We'll fold Jack 8. Normally it's a good indicator. I mean, as soon as someone starts chatting, normally I'm like, it's a sign perhaps that there's mental game potentially. I don't know. What's happened? My light turned off. Did we have a light on and it's turned off? Has that made a difference? We're going to call ace jack. The crucial lighting difference there, ladies and gentlemen. Good, we held. That's very nice. It was pretty big. A lot of outs on the turn, wasn't there? Okay, happy days. We'll go play another.